doing? This week, we're going to do a quick episode of Gardening Like a Champ. It's time to check in on the garden. Lots of things have changed since you guys have all seen it last, and I think it's time to show you, when it's time to fertilize if you aren't using soil that's already got fertilizer in it. And I got to acknowledge something. It's actually been for a couple of weeks now, but I wanted to make sure before I said anything. The subscriber count hit 400, and it's stayed above 400 for a couple of weeks now. So welcome all 400 plus of you that are watching or have watched or might watch, or if you're watching in the future or whatever. I appreciate all of you. So please make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you comment if you want to talk or if you have anything to say about the video. I want to hear from everybody. I try to answer every comment, and if I don't, eventually I will if I notice that I haven't. But yeah, I appreciate everybody's watching. Thank you very much. We'll have to do a hot thing soon. I wanted to do spicy sports bets, but you know what? The UFC card today, while it might be a fun card, there's no real fights that excite me. And the heavyweight fight at the end of the night, it's so heavily favored for one guy. It's not worth doing a spicy sports bet, I don't think. So, things can happen, but we'll wait for a better card. It won't be long. And, I'm going to put that challenge I wanted to do on the line for the next spicy sports bet. And if I don't eventually lose, I'll do it anyways, just because, I've been meaning to for a while. There's a few things I've been meaning to do for a while, so they got to get done. Greg, fire in the hole. What's going on? Are we doing that or not? Let me know. Anyways, so, yeah. We're, now into the end of March, and my plants have been growing for quite some time now. I think we started them at the start of February, if I remember correctly. I have to check, but yeah, I think it's been about a month and a half or almost 2 months since we started the germination process. And things have changed. So I think what we should do is we'll go downstairs. I'll show you how things are, and I'll explain when it's time to fertilize if you're not using soil that's already got something in it like I am. If you're going to be using liquid fertilizer or whatever. This is probably the time to start thinking about it. So I'll explain everything when we go downstairs to the grow room. All right, so now we're down in the grow room, and as you can see, things have changed quite a lot. The plants have gotten huge, and it's time to actually kill all my backups. I haven't done it yet because I've been making sure things haven't gone wrong, but at this point they're all getting huge and very healthy, and there's no need for the backups anymore. I did have one plant get damaged by the fan or something, and it kind of flopped over and it never bounced back, so I actually stole one of the backups from one of the other planters that I had of the same strain, and I transferred it over, and it took. So I still have everything I intended to have, and as you can see, most of them are huge. A couple are tiny, but they're catching up real quick. Once the leaves start to get big, they start to grow fast. I'm going to shut the heat pad off. I'm going to shut the heat pad off soon. Now we're at the point of year where the basement's going to start warming up. It's starting to become spring outside, so temperatures are going to start to rise, and ambient temperatures down here will start to rise. So having a 35-degree mat running under everything here is probably unnecessary at this point, and will probably just make things grow even faster, which I don't want because they need to stay in here for at least another 2 months. So that heat pad will be the first thing that I would shut off at this stage if your space is limited and you don't want things to get too out of control. As you guys can see, the fan is blowing on them, and this is a good thing. You have to be careful in the beginning. The seedlings are very precious, I guess I would say, and you have to work them very early with the fans so that they build strength, but you have to be careful because they can flop over if they're getting blown on too hard, and if that happens, you have to pull them out of the fan immediately, and they will perk back up, but you have to be careful not to damage the plants when they're a little bit younger. But once they start to get to this size, they're starting to build a lot of resistance in the leaves and the stems and all the nodes of all the stems, so they start to become a lot stronger, and as you can see, they're getting blown pretty good. They're blown all the time, so it's good for them. And this is important for when they go outside, because there's two things they need to adjust to: the intensity of the sun and the actual movement of air. And if they're not ready for that, you'll have a lot of damage. They might even die. So I've found that having this kind of air blowing across them has really helped strengthen them up. I rotate them around and move the source of air sometimes, just so they all get different variations of velocity. But yeah, I do that so when it actually becomes time to go outside, they're used to the typical kind of airflow you would see. And from that point, it's easier for them to adjust to, gusts and everything else. This is also a point, if your soil is not fertilized, I mentioned previously you should be looking for when you have, 4 to 6 true leaves. The true leaves are like these leaves here. The cotyledons are like these leaves here. Those are the ones that start when they're seedlings. But yeah, what I meant by true leaves are leaves like the big leaves here. Once you have 4 to 6 of those true sets of leaves, or true leaves of their own, I would say right now I've got probably 4 or 6 sets with another set starting there. But yeah, once you've got about this many, or maybe a little less or a little more than this is when they're going to start needing fertilizer if you don't have fertilizer in the soil. And this is when you would start using it when you're watering, if you're using liquid fertilizer. I would recommend using organic fertilizer, of course. And always when you start with fertilizer, I recommend starting at least half to quarter strength. Organic is a little less harsh on plants, so you can usually get away starting at about half strength. But if you're really worried, start at quarter strength the first watering and build up every time you water. But this is around the time you would have to fertilize, or your plants will start to be stunted. Another thing you might have to consider is the size of the planter they're in. Now, in this case, these ones are pretty decent size, and I think these ones will make it outside. But if you were using something a little smaller to start the seeds in, you would have to transplant around this time too, or else the plants will start to stunt. So that would be something you'd have to consider. But yeah, other than that, now you have to water when the soil is dry, basically. You don't want to keep it damp all the time. You want to water the soil and allow it to dry. There's 2 reasons you want that to happen. A, when it dries, it'll force the roots to grow and look for water, which you want to have a healthy root base. And the other reason is that these plants, you don't want to overwater them. It can cause weird bumps and things to happen on the leaves. It's not the end of the world if it happens. It seems to have happened to me every year so far, almost, on some plants. It may be unavoidable, but yeah, I think that can happen from overwatering. So you have to be careful with that, because anomalies can happen. But it seems once you go outside, a lot of that works out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to do a quick update so you guys can see how things are, see how big things are. Next time I show you guys these things, all the plants will be singled out as the strongest ones, and all the duplicates will be removed. But yeah, I just want to sum up the video again. If you're in a smaller planter, now is the time to transplant to something a little bit larger, so that your plants have a little bit more room to develop. If your soil is not fertilized, now is the time to start fertilizing. If you have about this many leaves, or just a little less or a little more, and you haven't fertilized, now is the time to start thinking about it if your soil has nothing in it. And like I said, it's very important to start at quarter to half strength at the most. And the last thing, of course, is to make sure that you have airflow across your plants. It helps strengthen the stems, it helps strengthen the leaves, it helps prepare them for outside, where they'll constantly be hit with airflow from different directions. And this is the most important thing, to making sure your plants will be able to handle that, and they'll be well on their way to be able to handle that if they can take something like this on a pretty much 24/7 basis. Well, that's it for down here for this week. We'll check in again soon so you guys can see how things look. But yeah, I appreciate all of you watching, and let's go back upstairs and wrap this up. All right, well, there you go. There's the big update on the garden. As you guys can see, things have gotten quite large. And it's now time for me to start executing some of the extra backup plants, because I clearly don't need them anymore. It's kind of a sad thing to do, but it is part of the process, and it is what it is. Only the strong survive, as they say. So yeah, that's it for this garden update, and we'll do another one soon. And of course, when it becomes time to transplant or move outside, we're gonna we'll have to go through those processes. because hardening your plants is very important to do. If you start them inside, you got to bring them outside. That's part of the reason why I have the fan on them down there, like I explained before. Yeah, so that's going to be it for today's episode. Before we go, I want to say rest in peace to Taylor Hawkins on a sad note. I'm a Foo Fighters fan. I have been since the beginning. And I heard the shocking news this morning when I woke up that he died just before they were going to play a concert yesterday. Pretty sad news, pretty shocking news. You know, it's not the first time it's happened now, obviously, as a fan of music, but it never gets easier. And it's a big loss for music, and it's a big loss for his family and his friends, and for everybody that admired his work. So I feel bad for all those people, and you know, it really sucks that we lost him. So rest in peace, Taylor Hawkins, and you know, condolences to the Foo Fighters, their fans, all the friends and family of him. That's a big blow to the music world. But on that note, yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button, and comment. Yeah. I guess that's it for now. Sorry, that bummed things out, didn't it? All right, well, you know, life goes on. We're still here. So, subscribe. Check out last week's video. Check out this random video here. We'll see you next week with the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate all of you.